Have you ever wondered why some people seem to share every moment of their lives, while others remain completely silent? No vacation photos, no relationship updates, no birthday celebrations, sometimes not even a profile picture. At first it seems strange. After all, we live in a world where posting has become almost as natural as breathing. So when someone chooses not to, people often assume they have nothing interesting to share, that they're shy, unsociable, or simply inactive. But what if that's completely wrong? What if the people who post the least are fighting battles, protecting peace, or seeing the world in a completely different way? Because behind every silent profile, there is a story. And tonight, we're going to uncover the hidden psychology behind the people who choose not to share their lives online. Because this isn't really about social media. It's about something much deeper. It's about the human mind. The world wasn't always watching. Imagine waking up tomorrow, and every decision you made, every meal you ate, every place you visited, every achievement you reached, no one knew about it except you. How would that feel? For thousands of years, that was normal. People lived entire lives without needing strangers to witness them. Success was personal. Happiness was private. Love didn't need proof. A beautiful sunset wasn't interrupted by reaching for a camera. People simply lived. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Social media quietly introduced a new question into our minds. Not, am I enjoying this moment? But, will other people enjoy seeing this moment? It's such a subtle shift that most people never notice it. Yet it changes the way we experience life. Psychologists often describe this as a change in how attention is directed. Instead of focusing only on the experience itself, part of our attention can become focused on how that experience might be seen by others. Suddenly, life becomes something to present, not just something to live. And this is where something fascinating happens. Because not everyone adapts to that change in the same way. Some people naturally embrace sharing. Others quietly resist it, not because they're antisocial, but because something inside them values experience more than exposure. The quiet observer. Maybe you've noticed this about yourself. You open social media every day. You scroll. You laugh. You watch. You learn. But when it comes time to post something, you stop. Not because you have nothing to say. You simply don't feel the need. This is one of the most misunderstood personalities online. People often mistake silence for insecurity. But silence doesn't always come from fear. Sometimes, it comes from observation. Think about walking into a crowded room. Some people immediately begin talking. Others spend the first 20 minutes simply watching. They notice facial expressions. They notice body language. They notice conversations. They understand the room before becoming part of it. Neither approach is wrong. They're simply different ways of interacting with the world. Social media reflects this difference. Some people experience life by expressing it. Others experience life by absorbing it. The observer often asks questions that the broadcaster never considers. What did I actually learn today? What did this experience mean to me? Instead of, how many people will like this? That doesn't make one person deeper than another. But it does explain why two people can have the exact same experience, and only one feels the need to post about it. Sometimes, the richest moments leave no digital footprint. Not because they weren't meaningful, but because they were too meaningful to interrupt. Fear of judgment. There is a question many people never admit they ask themselves before posting. What will people think? Sometimes, that single question is enough to make someone close the app. You've probably experienced it before. You take a picture. You write a caption. You read it once. Then again. You delete a sentence. Change a word. Wonder if it sounds stupid. Ask yourself if anyone will even care. And eventually, you don't post anything at all. From the outside, it looks like a lack of confidence. But psychology tells us something more interesting. The human brain has always cared about social acceptance. Thousands of years ago, belonging to a group wasn't just emotionally important, it was essential for survival. Being rejected could mean losing protection, resources, or community. Although life has changed, our brains still react strongly to the possibility of social judgment. That's why one negative comment can outweigh 100 positive ones. Your brain isn't trying to ruin your confidence. It's trying to protect your place within the group. For some people, that protection becomes so powerful that silence feels safer than expression. But here's the strange part. Not everyone who stays silent is afraid. Some people simply refuse to let strangers decide the value of their lives. The difference between privacy and secrecy. People often confuse privacy with secrecy, but they're not the same thing. A secret is something you hide because you're afraid. Privacy is something you protect because you value it. Think about your happiest memory. Maybe it was a conversation with someone you love. Maybe it was a quiet moment with your family. Maybe it was the day your life changed forever. Ask yourself something. Would sharing that moment online make it more meaningful? Or would it simply make more people aware that it happened? For some people, the most valuable experiences lose something the moment they're turned into content. Not because attention is wrong, but because some memories are too personal to be measured by likes. There's a quiet confidence in knowing, I don't need everyone to witness this for it to matter. In a world where everything is shared, choosing privacy can become an act of emotional independence. Saying, this moment belongs to me, and sometimes, that's enough. The hidden trap of validation. Here's where social media becomes psychologically fascinating. Every notification, every like, every comment, activates the brain's reward system. For a brief moment, you feel seen, recognized, important. There's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying positive feedback. Humans are social by nature, and appreciation can feel rewarding. The challenge begins when your sense of worth slowly depends on that feedback. Without realizing it, your mood starts depending on numbers. A photo performs well. You feel good. The next one doesn't. You begin questioning yourself. Was the picture bad? Was I boring? Do people even care? Notice what happened. Your attention quietly shifted from enjoying your life to measuring your value. Some people recognize this pattern early. They step away, not because they hate social media, but because they refuse to let an algorithm become a mirror of their self-worth. They'd rather experience life than constantly evaluate it. That's not superiority. It's self-protection, and perhaps one of the healthiest boundaries a person can set. Why some of the happiest people post the least. Have you ever met someone who barely exists online, yet seems genuinely at peace? No constant updates, no carefully edited highlights, no need to tell the world where they are or what they're doing. And somehow, they seem lighter, more present, more content. It's tempting to think they've simply escaped social media, but that's not necessarily true. Many of them still use it. They still scroll. They still stay connected. The difference isn't whether they use social media. It's why they use it. For some people, social media is a stage. For others, it's simply a tool. One person asks, how can people notice me? The other asks, how can this help me stay connected or learn something new? The platform is the same. The psychology is different. Sometimes, the happiest people have discovered a quiet truth. Not every beautiful moment needs an audience. Think about your favorite memory. Maybe it was a conversation that lasted until midnight, a walk with someone you love, a family celebration, a personal victory no one else knew about. What made those moments valuable? Was it because people applauded them? Or because you were fully present while they happened? The older you become, the more you realize something. Some memories become more meaningful precisely because they remain yours. Not every joy needs to be displayed. Some joys become stronger when they're simply lived. When silence becomes a wall. But there's another side to this story. Not posting isn't always a sign of peace. Sometimes, silence hides pain. Someone stops posting because they're exhausted, because they're grieving, because they're struggling with depression, because they no longer recognize themselves, or because they've become convinced that nothing about their life is worth sharing. This is where we have to be careful. Choosing privacy is healthy. Feeling like you have to disappear is different. If you found yourself withdrawing from everyone, not just online but in real life, if you stop talking to friends, stop sharing your thoughts, stop believing anyone would care, then your silence may be telling you something important. Not that you're weak, but that you may need connection more than you realize. The human mind wasn't designed to carry every burden alone. Sometimes healing begins, not by posting to thousands of strangers, but by opening up to one person you trust. There is strength in privacy, but there is also strength in allowing yourself to be known. Wisdom is learning the difference. Final reflection. So, what does it really mean if you never post on social media? The answer is, there isn't one answer. Some people stay silent because they're protecting their peace. Some because they're deeply private. Some because they don't seek external validation. Some because they're thoughtful observers. And yes, some because they're afraid of being judged. The behavior may look identical, but the reasons behind it are deeply personal. That's one of the most important lessons psychology can teach us. Never judge a person's inner world by their outward behavior alone. The quietest person in the room may have the richest inner life. The loudest person online may be searching for reassurance. And the profile that looks empty may belong to someone living a life too full to constantly document. Maybe that's the real lesson. Social media shows us what people choose to reveal. Psychology reminds us that every visible behavior has an invisible story behind it. The next time you notice someone who never posts, don't rush to assume they're lonely, or boring, or hiding something. They may simply have chosen a different way of experiencing life. And if you're one of those people, remember this. Your value has never been measured by how often you share your life. It has always been measured by how deeply you live it. Until next time, protect your mind, question everything, and never stop trying to understand yourself. This is ABFA Mind. Think like a philosopher. Understand like a psychologist.